Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being, and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Well-being. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of all.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating International Albinism Awareness Day on 13 June every year. The theme for 2024 is a decade of collective progress. 2024 marks a decade since the launch of International Albinism Awareness Day. To mark this occasion, this year's theme is 10 years of IAAD, a decade of collective progress. International Albinism Awareness Day, in short known as IAAD, hereby being referred as IAAD. This theme invites us to celebrate the strides made within the movement with renewed commitment for the future. Highlight the tireless efforts of albinism groups from around the world. Reflect on continued legal, policy, and practical changes still required to ensure the full and equal enjoyment of rights by persons with albinism. Albinism is a genetic condition inherited from both parents that occurs worldwide regardless of ethnicity or gender. So this is prevalent across the world. The common lack of melanin pigments in the hair, skin, and eyes of people with albinism causes vulnerability to sun exposure, which can lead to skin cancer and severe visual impairment. As many as 1 in 5,000 people in sub-Saharan Africa and 1 in 20,000 people in Europe and North America have albinism. In some countries, people with albinism suffer discrimination, poverty, stigma, violence, and even killings. In some countries, women who give birth to children with albinism are repudiated by their husbands and their children abandoned or the victims of infanticide. The movie industry has seldom portrayed people with albinism accurately, preferring to depict them as villains, demons, or freaks of nature. So that's how they had a lot of bad reputation because of this media portrayal. Violence against people with albinism is largely met by social silence and indifference, and is seldom followed by investigations or prosecution of perpetrations. So, albinism, as already mentioned, is a rare, non contagious, genetically inherited difference present at birth. In almost all types of albinism, both parents must carry the gene for it to be passed on, even if they do not have albinism themselves. The condition is found in both sexes, regardless of ethnicity, and in all countries of the world. Albinism results in lack of pigmentation, melanin, in the hair, skin, and eyes, causing vulnerability to the sun and bright light. As a result, almost all people with albinism are visually impaired and are prone to developing skin cancer. There is no cure for the absence of melanin that is central to albinism. While numbers vary, it is estimated that in North America and Europe, one in every 17 to 20,000 people have some form of albinism. The condition is much more prevalent in sub-Saharan Africa, with estimates of 1 in 1,400 people being affected in Tanzania, and prevalence of high as 1 in 1,000 reported for select populations in Zimbabwe and for other specific ethnic groups in Southern Africa. There are various health challenges of people living with albinism. The lack of melanin means persons with albinism are highly vulnerable to developing skin cancer. In some countries, a majority of persons with albinism die from skin cancer between 30 and 40 years of age. Skin cancer is highly preventable when persons with albinism enjoy the right to health. This includes access to regular health checks, sunscreen glasses, and sun protective clothing in a significant number of countries. These life-saving means unavailable or inaccessible to them. Consequently, in the realm of development measures, persons with albinism have been and are among those left further behind. Therefore, they ought to be targeted for human rights interventions in the manner envisioned by the Sustainable Development Goals. Due to lack of melanin in the skin and eyes, persons with albinism often have permanent visual impairment. They also face discrimination due to their skin colors. As such, they are often subject to multiple and intersecting discrimination on the grounds of both disability and color. Attacks against people with albinism are hate crimes, as quoted by an independent expert on albinism, Muluka Annie Miti Roma. I received disturbing reports of attacks and abductions of persons with albinism in two different countries, both of which had little or no known attacks against persons with albinism until the recent months. One of the victims was a child whose body was reportedly thrown into a river after her eyes and organs have been removed, no doubt for ritual purposes. Not ghosts, they are human beings. The worst expression of discrimination against persons with albinisms is their dehumanization, which lays the foundation for horrifying physical attacks against them. Because some believe they are magical beings or ghosts, they mutilate or even kill them so that their body parts can be used for witchcraft rituals. Meet the champions of the albinism cause who are sharing their stories in an effort to dispel these dangerous myths. If you are a person living with albinism, you can also share your own story. Although there is a lot of research on the situation of human rights defenders, HRDs, there is a little information about human rights defenders working on albinism. HRDs with albinism often face challenges, including lack of resources and capacity limited links with other human rights organizations and threats to their right to life. In our latest animated video, in collaboration with the Center for Human Rights, we highlight these challenges and how states can act to protect charities. With albinism, working on albinism. We'll see small video now. Watch a small video where we can get insights more about albinism.
Más discurso de odio. No puedo decir que estoy sorprendida. Al ser una persona con albinismo, he tenido que defenderme toda mi vida. Ahora defiendo a otros como yo en escuelas, lugares de trabajo y debates públicos. Tengo un trabajo de tiempo completo, así que hago esto durante mi tiempo libre con otras personas con albinismo o sus progenitores. Pero no es fácil. Algunas personas piensan que solo estoy tratando de desacreditar al gobierno o de enriquecerme. Sin embargo, realizo esta tarea a un gran costo financiero para mí. Otras personas son muy despectivas de mi opinión solo porque tengo albinismo. Siendo una mujer que habla en público, recibo insinuaciones sexuales inapropiadas. En algunos países, las defensoras como yo incluso reciben amenazas de muerte de personas que creen que pueden ganar dinero con las partes de nuestro cuerpo y no quieren que su negocio se vea comprometido. El odio, el abuso y las amenazas que recibo pueden ser abrumadoras a veces. Afortunadamente, descubrí que soy una defensora de derechos humanos, una DDH, y que hay organizaciones que apoyan el trabajo de los y las DDH. Una de esas organizaciones me dio una capacitación en línea muy necesaria sobre cómo mantenerse al resguardo. La organización también me ayudó a comprender cuán importante y gratificante puede ser nuestro trabajo, especialmente cuando nuestra lucha da como resultados cambios en las políticas públicas. Incluso recibí un premio en materia de derechos humanos por parte de una embajada. Tal apoyo y solidaridad me fortalecen para seguir defendiendo a las personas con albinismo. Ahora sé que como DDH, mi gobierno debe protegerme, para que pueda defender los derechos de las personas con albinismo sin miedo, porque defender los derechos humanos es un derecho humano.
I've been bullied half of my life, you know what I'm saying? So it started with the name calling, then the pushing, then the shoving, and the next thing you know, I'm getting kicked and jumped in restrooms. And I've been as low as it could possibly go with bullying. I've dealt with depression, I've dealt with the suicidal tendencies and attempts. I've dealt with every bit of it. And I felt so alone. The last thing I want to do is to make anyone feel alone. As you can see, I'm albino. I lack all pigmentation in my hair, skin, eyes, and I have a specific form of albinism called ocular albinism. So I have literally no pigmentation whatsoever. I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood and a predominantly black school, and children, you know, they don't know how to deal with something that's so different. And it started there. I want to let people know that I'm there. Bullying is a real thing. Depression is a real thing, and it should not be taken lightly. Yes, it is a platform that I use to better contact my peers and youth. I speak, but sometimes just simply talking doesn't do it. Music helps pierce that. When you're born, when you're a baby, you know no hate. You know no pain. You know no discrimination. That is taught. That stuff is taught to us as children. The second we remove things from our youth that teach that type of hate, stop labeling things. Let's just love. If we could just teach love to our youth and teach love to our people and keep teaching that in our communities, then yes, there will be a change eventually. I would get us more involved as people into the environment and get more leaders to continue to push that love and that peace and that care on to others. Stand up for human rights.
I guess my memories of my childhood in Hong Kong is a lot of legs. When you're short, that's kind of all you saw. And it was very sunny, so hot and sunny. I think that's how I remember my childhood in Hong Kong. But there was also great memories like my dad's record collections. So when I was little, I actually can't recall myself meeting anyone with albinism. Well, actually, one of my classmates had albinism, but that was later. When I was really young, I think about 5, 6, my 3 sisters, they came home from school, still in their school uniforms and all excited and said, look who just guess who we saw today. And I thought, probably just a movie star or a singer. And they said, we saw a girl who looked just like you. She had white hair and she had like fair skin and she was so tall and slim. And they were so excited. And I thought, oh, okay, so probably I will be all right. I will also be tall and slim when I grow up. Recently, I was in a shop, and a shop assistant came up to me. It's a tall guy, muscular, and he came up to me and said, "Excuse me, I really have to ask, what's this?" And he gestured towards me, "What's this? What gene pool is this?" Well, I have to sort of quickly figure out what to do, really. In some ways, I don't think he meant any harm. It wasn't pleasant for me. I don't think that would be pleasant for anyone. I mean, you can ask yourself, is that all right to say to someone with albinism? And I look Chinese. Is it all right to say to someone just because I don't look like him? I just heard about this designer who is very open-minded and a bit crazy, Jean-Paul Gaultier, because he made dresses for men, skirts for men, I thought. So I was quite lucky. It was good timing, I think, for his then coming collection. It was, the inspiration was sort of Tibetan, Mongolia culture, so I fitted right in. And that's kind of how I started my modeling. I hope for myself and for other people with albinism is, these are things that a lot of people can relate to. I think a lot of groups in the society can relate to. I mean, just equality, respect, tolerance, and a bit of kindness. I think some people think kindness is sort of like patronizing, but I don't think so. The world would be so much better if we all can show a bit more kindness. Don't fence me in, let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but as you please. Don't fence me in.
June 12 is also commemorated as World Day Against Child Labor, with the theme for 2024, let's act on our commitments and child labor. This year's World Day will focus on celebrating the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the worst forms of the Child Labor Convention, 1999, number 192. So it also presents an opportunity to remind all stakeholders to improve their implementation of the two fundamental conventions on child labor, Convention number 192 and Convention number 138 concerning the minimum age for admission to employment of work, 1970. Although significant strides have been taken in reducing child labor over time, recent years have seen global trends reverse, underscoring the pressing need to unite efforts in expediting actions to eradicate child labor in all manifestations. With the adaptation of Sustainable Development Goal Target 8.7, the international community made a commitment to the elimination of child labor in all its forms by 2025. Now, it's the time to make the elimination of the child labor a reality. The World Day Against Child Labor, June 12, 2020. We are calling for the active implementation of the ILO Convention number 182 on the worst forms of child labor, reinvigorated national, regional, and international action to end child labor in all of its forms, including worst forms, through adopting national policies and addressing root causes, as called upon in 2022 Durban Call to Action. Universal ratification and effective implementation of ILO Convention number 138 on the minimum age, which together with the universal ratification of ILO Convention number 182 on the worst forms of child labor achieved in 2020, would provide all children with legal protection against all forms of child labor. Since 2000, for nearly 2 decades, the world has been making steady progress in reducing child labor. But over the past few years, conflicts, crises, and the COVID-19 pandemic have plunged more families into poverty. The forced millions more children into child labor. Economic growth has not been sufficient nor inclusive enough to relieve the pressure that too many families and communities feel, and that makes them resort to child labor. Today, 160 million children are still engaged in child labor. That is almost 1 in 10 children worldwide. Africa ranks highest among the regions about the percentage of children in child labor, 1/5, and the absolute number of the children in child labor, 72 million. Asia and the Pacific ranks second highest in both these measures. 7% of all children and 62 million in absolute terms are in child labor in this region. The Africa and the Asia and the Pacific regions together account for almost 9 out of every 10 child labor worldwide. The remaining child labor population is divided among the Americas, 11 million, Europe and Central Asia, 6 million, and the Arab states, 1 million. In terms of incidence, 5% of children are in child labor in the America, 4% in Europe and Central Asia, and 3% in the Arab states. So while the percentage of children in child labor is highest in low-income countries, their numbers are actually greater in middle-income countries. 9% of all children in low middle-income countries and 7% of all children in upper middle-income countries are in child labor. Statistics on the absolute number of children in child labor in each national income grouping indicate that 84 million children in child labor, accounting for 56% of all these in child labor, actually live in middle-income countries, and an additional 2 million live in high-income countries. As part of supporting children's rights, education, through education, the arts and media, in short known as CREEP, program implemented the ILO to combat child labor. Students from British Culture College who are conducting awareness raising activities composed a song and recorded it in the studio. So let's watch that along with one more video.
Her çocuk açar gül gibi, neşeyle dolsun kalpleri. Her çocuk açar gül gibi, neşeyle dolsun kalpleri. Çocuk işçiliğine son verilsin, fikirler değerlendirilsin. Çocuk işçiliğine son verilsin, fikirler değerlendirilsin. Destekleyelim çocukları, umutları yeşillensin. Destekleyelim çocukları, umutları yeşillensin. İlo ile hep beraber, fikirler filizlensin. İlo ile hep beraber, fikirler filizlensin.
En la sociedad en general está normalizado prácticamente el trabajo infantil. La gente piensa que es normal y que es correcto que los niños trabajen. Nosotros desde los 7 años, en mi caso, 8 años de mi hermano, iniciamos a trabajar como trabajadores del tabaco. Siempre desde el mes de diciembre hasta marzo, en el momento en el que estábamos de vacaciones en la escuela, nos dedicábamos a realizar las tareas de tabaco. Con ese dinero que recaudábamos en ese tiempo, comprábamos nuestro útil, nuestra indumentaria para todo el año escolar. En ese momento veíamos la necesidad de que en la zona del Valle del Lerma haya una delegación del Ministerio de Trabajo para que se pueda controlar no solo el trabajo en negro, sino también el trabajo infantil. Por mi experiencia, obviamente, tenía todas las condiciones para cumplir ese rol. Había sido niño trabajador, había sido empleado del tabaco, había sido productor tabacalero. Entonces uno va tomando conocimiento y va dándose cuenta de cómo detectar dónde hay trabajo infantil, cómo poder implementar alguna de las políticas que se llevan adelante justamente sobre el trabajo infantil, la protección del trabajo adolescente. Tuve 2 hijos, una nena, un varón, y sí, digamos, creo que lo primero que uno hace es protegerlo del trabajo, ¿no es cierto? Enseñarle a la esposa el valor de las cosas, sí, pero no evitar siempre que estén trabajando desde niños. Mi sueño respecto a la erradicación del trabajo infantil creo que el de un montón de gente, ¿no? Que no haya niños trabajando. Se avanzó muchísimo en la zona y estoy muy conforme con esos avances que se vienen dando, pero falta un poquito más.
Today, we are also commemorating World Softball Day. Every year on June 13th in cities across the United States. However, this day is not just about promoting softball, it's about promoting physical activity for good health. World Softball Day also nurtures the spirit of sportsmanship and social integration. This day inspires future generations of girls and boys to seek excellence and inspire empowerment from sports. This is a greater day to go back to sports and encourage those around us, especially children, to pursue sports seriously. Softball has a favorite among Americans, and we hope it all will continue to be so for many years to come. So World Softball Day. Softball Day has been celebrated every year on June 13th since its inception in 2005. The day celebrates softball, a sport that is played by approximately 30 million people around the world. Many suspect that softball is an earlier version or easier version of baseball, one that is primarily enjoyed by children and women. That is not true. Softball was invented so that more people could enjoy a version of baseball indoors. This misconception, along with the idea that softball is an easier than baseball, is the two common misunderstandings that trouble the popular game. The softball field is usually made of dirt or brick dust. However, the field may be also made of solid and dry surfaces, such as artificial turf or asphalt. There are 4 bases on the infield: first base, second base, third base, and home plate. The bases are arranged in a square and are usually 60 feet apart. Near the center of the square is the pitcher's mouth, and within the circle is a small flat rectangular piece of rubber that is kept no more than 50 feet from home plate. Depending on the league the game is being played in, the object of the game is to score more runs than the opposing team by hitting the ball and running around the bases, touching each one in succession. A game of softball usually has 7 innings. Each inning is divided into a top of in which visiting team bats and try to score runs, while the home team tries to record 3 outs. In the bottom half, the team's roles are reversed. Some leagues may even play within a time limit instead of innings. So, as already mentioned, a regulation of softball is significantly larger than a regulation of baseball. A softball measures between 11 and 12 inches in circumference and weighs about 6 to 7 ounces. A baseball is much smaller. The speed of pitches, the reaction time for hitters and fielders, and the distance of the field indicate the softball is indeed more difficult than baseball. The name softball was given to the game in 1926 because the ball used to be soft. In modern day usage, the balls are hard. So softball is a popular game. In America, games are organized on World Softball Day and you can attend one nearest you. Softball was originally an indoor sport. It was meant to be played indoors during winters. The game was initially known as kitten ball. The first game was won by Team US and the winning home run was hit by Dot Richardson, the first Olympic softball game winner. Every softball game at the 1996 Olympics was sold out. It was an Olympic hit. More than 40 million Americans plays it. It inculcates a spirit of sportsmanship. It encourages physical activity and it's an America's favorite sport. Today is also commemorated as Random Acts of Light Day, US. As part of Leukemia and Lymphoma Societies Light the Night Walks fundraising campaign, Random Acts of Light Day is celebrated every year on June 30. This day encourages us to do a random act of kindness to bring light into the life of someone suffering from cancer. People observe the day by volunteering at hospitals, read up on treatment and cures for blood cancer patients, or joining the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light. The night walks to raise funds and increase awareness about leukemia and lymphoma. Random Acts of Light Day aims to make the world a kinder place for cancer patients and their families. Random Acts of Light Day was started by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, in short known as LLS, which is the world's largest voluntary health agency for blood cancer patients. On this day, observers are expected to bring light to patients suffering from blood and other cancers. It is not unusual to see celebrate turning up at the hospitals and volunteer centers to visit patients and survivors of blood cancer. And surprisingly, but you don't have to be a celebrity or to observe the day. Anyone who is willing to be a kind act can participate in the random acts of light day. The day was created to raise awareness and to educate the masses about blood cancer and its possible treatments. It is also a day to advocate for the need to fund research for blood cancer so that patients can have access to treatments and live a more comfortable life. Blood cancer is the third most common deadly type of cancer in the United States. Data shows that every 9 minutes, a life is lost to blood cancer. That's almost 160 deaths a day. Approximately 13 million people in the United States suffer from blood cancer. The three main types of blood cancer are leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma. Leukemia is a cancer of the blood and the marrow, and it can be either acute or chronic. Acute leukemia spreads quickly while chronic leukemia progresses at a slower pace. In fact, it is the most common cancer among those under 20 and the age of above 60. How long is the night walk? Random Acts of Light Day is celebrated annually on June 30. The route for the night walk is less than 2 miles long. And the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society started Random Acts of Light Day. So surprise a hospital patient by bringing them a delicious meal, flowers, and a card. You can also just visit them for a friendly chat. Smoking causes 90% of lung cancers and has killed almost 50 million people in the last decade. So see how many more people are drinking smoking as a passion or as a fashion or but it is killing people, not only you, but also with passive smoking. They are killing other people. Cancer deaths are preventable. Researchers believe that more than half of all cancer deaths are potentially preventable. Approximately 77% of all cancers are diagnosed in people who are 55 years or older. Skin cancer is the most common form of cancer in the US. It affects over 2 million people every year. It is estimated that 5 to 10% of all cancers are hereditary. It celebrates kindness. This is a day that celebrates act of kindness. Random Acts of Light Day reminds us that even smallest kind deed can make someone happy. This day raises awareness about blood cancer and its treatments and cures. Organizations and volunteers also come together to fund research and treatments. Random Acts of Light Day makes people knowledgeable about blood cancers in the hope that treatments and cures will be easily available in the future. It is also commemorated as National Video or Garden Day in US. Every good gardener knows that weeding is an essential to gardening, as watering the plants or enriching soil with fertilizers. Weeds grow very fast, and if you are inattentive, they might even deprive other plants of nutrition and space. So we recommend weeding regularly since it becomes overwhelming if the garden is left unattended for long periods. You can also keep weed growth in check by using weed-free soil and not letting weeds go to seed. Gardening is a fun, relaxing hobby for many of us. While some prefer flower gardens and others might tending a kitchen garden. Gardens are not just a ready source of herbs, fruits, vegetables, and flowers, but spending time with plants can uplift your mood. Those who enjoy gardening are also better equipped to deal with stress and other negative emotions. While weeding is one of the more taxing aspects of gardening, it is essential to remove weeds regularly to ensure that your plants stay healthy. Weeding can be done by hand or mechanically with a mower. Some of the most common weeds that you will spot in the garden are dandelions, clovers, groundsels, and common daisies. Gardening is not just a hobby, but also an expression of creativity and cultural pride. Many famous gardens are a display of nature and art and may even symbolize social status or national pride. Almost all cultures from time immemorial have planned and invested in private and public gardens. From emperors to city planners, patrons have always encouraged building grand gardens to beautify the city. In fact, some gardens have been constructed so wonderfully that they have been elevated to the status of heritage sites and a must visit tourist destination. It is also not uncommon to find pools, temples, and mausoleums in gardens dating back centuries. Modern gardens often have gazebos, nurseries, and benches on the premises. Sometimes a garden may also double up as venue for weddings and parties. The biggest garden in the world is in Dubai. Dubai Miracle Garden is spread over in an area of 28 square miles and has over 60 million flowers. Butterflies love common weeds like dandelions, clovers, and daisies. During the 1600s, tulips were so valuable that their bulbs were worth more than gold in Holland. Common fruits like apples, peaches, cherries, and pears actually belong to rose family. The pH levels of the soil determine the color of hydrangeas. Alkaline soil makes pink flowers, while acidic soil makes blue flowers. It's a day to volunteer in gardens. Today is also commemorated as National Productive Business Civility Day in US, founded by Professor Werner A. Joseph in 2020 to raise awareness about the power of productive business. The day is dedicated to increasing productive business. Today, people from all over the world and various industries engage in productive business practices and maximize their relationships, collaboration, and partnerships for better economic development and engagement. In the mid 1700s, the Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain, prompting a wave of ingenuity and the creation of steam engine, leading to a overturning of the established status quo. Farm hands and people from rural areas started to flock to the cities, searching for work in mines and industries. A few decades later, in 1794, the cotton gin was invented. It removed seeds from cotton plants, leading to drastic increase in production and making US the leader in cotton exports. The cotton gin was among the first steps towards automation. Even the bold start productivity was greatly affected by the World War I in 1940. The Great War made a significant dent in industrial production and the labor force. During World War II, industrial growth restarted and the things became better for the US as the production of war materials increased and women began to enter the workforce. By the 1990s, the world shifted its focus to digital productivity. The production of new and remarkable technologies like artificial intelligence, AI, increased and Google shortly became the leader of the digital world. In 2014, Amazon Echo enter the market, giving us the most relevant information and making out our lives easier by helping us becoming integrated with our lives. It was just the beginning of smart devices. Now everything around us is controlled by technology, which has become a part of our lives. The afternoon evening slump is real. Studies reveal that the least productive hours are from 4 to 6. Surprisingly, there is the most productive day of the week, that is Tuesday. Breaks are essential for productivity, and working for 90 minutes with a 20-minute break is known to make you more productive. Short or long distance travel is the killer of productivity, but technology has now made it possible for people to work from home. Like we are conducting our meetings online daily, and you are able to attend from it convenience of your home or office. So we save a lot of time. Producing more work at a set of hours is more profitable than increasing the number of hours. Productivity decreases after 40 hours. So National Productive Business Civility Day has a great history. It teaches us about the factors that shape the workforce as it is today and the possible changes the future may bring with it. Today is also commemorated as National Dance Movement Therapy Advocacy Day in US to educate more people about the new and unique form of psychotherapy called dance movement therapy, making waves around the world. It addresses mental health by honing in on the body, movement, and dance as a natural expression that aids physical and psychological healing. Furthermore, it's a holistic therapy that believes that the mind, body, and spirits are interconnected and that changes in the body it addresses mental health by honing on the body, movement, and dance as a natural expression that aids in physical and psychological healing. Furthermore, it's a holistic therapy that believes that the mind, body, and spirit are interconnected and the changes in the body reflect changes in mind and vice versa. Numerous people have benefited from this form of therapy worldwide and many more starting to practice it each day. Dance Movement Therapy Day, DMT, emerged as a field in 1940s as early innovations. Many of whom were accomplished dancers realized that extensive benefits of using dance and movement as a form of psychotherapy. The American Dance Therapy Association, ADTA, defines it as a psychotherapeutic use of movement to promote emotional, social, cognitive, and physical integration of the individual for the purpose of improving health and well-being. The idea of dance as therapy is credited to former dance educator and performer Marion Chase, who shifted her focus from dance techniques and education to her students' individual movement, communications, and expressions. After World War II, she was invited to work at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Washington, D.C., where she was tasked with working with withdrawn, shutdown, and mute participants, that, that is, patients. She also worked with many war veterans. Her reputation for using dance as a means of communication and expression became widely known as she successfully reached nonverbal patients. She managed to break down their barriers through the power of movement, physical interaction, and dance by playing music, interacting with parents by mirroring their movements, establishing eye contact, engaging in physical contact, an increasing number of therapists worldwide are also recommending this form of therapy as an evidence supporting it continues piling up. These days, it's common to find many places offering DMT in various locations. Erika Hornethal later founded National Dance Movement Therapy Advocacy Day in 2019 to create awareness about this form of psychotherapy and allow more people to benefit from it. People in treatment with a qualified dance therapist have the right to confidentiality, and dance therapists provide a safe space for people to express themselves. Movement becomes a language, and patients communicate conscious and unconscious feelings. Though movement becomes a language, and patients communicate conscious and unconscious feelings through dance, allowing the therapist to respond appropriately. DMT is also influenced by theoretical frameworks, including psychodynamic theory, Gestalt theory, and humanistic theory. Many universities have started offering DMT undergraduate and master's degree courses, along with other psychology courses. Mental health professionals may also get certified through different institutions around the country and become licensed as dance movement therapists. There are three primary purposes of DMT. Is an exercise, it is a therapeutic for mentally and physically at-risk populations, and it's linked to healthy body image levels. Dancing has been proven to help with stress, anxiety, communication issues, aggression, PTSD, family conflicts, and disorder eating. Dancers are often more confident and have a positive mindset. In ancient Greece, dance was seen as a gift from the gods because its two main qualities, order and rhythm, were treated as godlike. DMT can help with chronic pain, child obesity, arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and dementia. Dancing increases our happy hormones like serotonin, dopamine, making us feel good instantly. Several clinical studies have proven the benefits of DMT for illness like Alzheimer's, dementia, and even childhood obesity because the model has a social aspect. Research has also shown that it helps people manage depression, anxiety, and other mental health problems. Dancing or any form of physical activity instantly makes you feel good. DMT combines the benefits of the movement with psychological therapeutic models to help patients. Because of DMT's social and cognitive aspects, it has been improved the communication skills of individual patients and interactions between groups. For this reason, DMT is suitable for all people of all ages. Today is also commemorated as National Chomoy Day, which is celebrated every year on June 13 to honor this delicious West-style condiment that the world raves over. Chamoy is a saucy condiment made of dried chilies, lime juice, and fruit, usually mango, apricot, or plum. Overall, it's a condiment that goes well with several other foods. Chamoy itself comes in different forms with a range of popular chamoy sauces in markets. It is a great opportunity to learn more about this incomparable condiment and for you to start incorporating into your meals. Chamoy is considered to be junk food in Mexico, more likely found as street food than in a fine dining restaurant. In recent years, chamoy has been reinvented as a hot sauce and is often used by street food vendors in both Mexico and the United States. Chamoy is sold in bottles as a sauce and is sometimes found in powder form, like a spice mix. It can also be found in paste form, but it's not as common. Sometimes chamoy paste is called apple paste since it's a popular spice to coat apples with. Apples are often rolled in chamoy paste and served whole as a traditional snack in Mexico, almost like a candy apple. In fact, chamoy is used to flavor various vegetables and fresh fruits. It is often drizzled over mango, pineapple, jicama, watermelon, and avocado. Today is also commemorated as Maharana Pratap Jayanti in India. Is widely celebrated across India, especially in northern and western states of India, particularly Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, and Rajasthan on June 30. According to the Hindu calendar, the king's birthday is on third day of the month of Jyeshtha, which is June 30th in the Gregorian calendar. Maharana Pratap Jayanti is celebrated in the honor of the great Rajput ruler of the 16th century, who stood up against the might of the Mughal Empire. Maharana Pratap has also inspired Rajputana's culture, warfare, and scientific thinking. His presence is still greatly felt in the architecture and traditions of Rajasthan. Maharana Pratap was born in 1540. He was born to the king Maharana Uday Singh II, the ruler of the kingdom of Mewar. At that time, the capital of Mewar kingdom was Chittoor. He was the eldest of the king's children and was anointed the crown prince. In 1561, Chittoor was attacked by the formidable forces of the Mughal Empire. Under the leadership of Emperor Akbar, the forces managed to force Maharaja Uday Singh to leave Chittoor and relocate to Gogunda. Maharana Uday Singh II died in 1572. And after facing some resistance from one of his siblings, Pratap Singh became ascended to the throne and became the Maharana of Mewar. His desire to win back Chittoor would become the most endeavor of life. He declined several peace treaties with Akbar and refused to give up the independence of the Mewar kingdom. He fought bravely against the superior Mughal forces, but never relinquished his power. However, he could never win back Chittoor. He was greatly admired by Emperor Akbar for his steadfast principles. So Bahadur Shah Zafar is considered the last Mughal emperor. His legitimate children were killed by Britishers after the War of 1857 in Delhi itself. And Bahadur Shah Zafar was deported to Burma. There he died in 1862 and his grave is present in Rangoon. When the Mughal messenger announced Pratap's death at Akbar's court, Akbar took a long pause and tears rolled down his eyes in the front of everybody. Because despite being his arch-rival, Akbar admired Maharana Pratap a lot as he was the greatest warrior Akbar had ever seen. Maharana Pratap, the Pratap monarch, wielded two swords that each weighed about 25 kg. If he were unarmed, it is stated that he would present one sword to his opponent before combat. The swords are currently on display in the Maharana Pratap Museum in Udaipur in Rajasthan. Jaipur is pink city, Jodhpur is blue city, Udaipur is white city, and Jaisalmer is golden city. The state has color-coded cities. It is largest state in India, as big as Germany. India's nuclear weapons are tested out in Pokhran, the only nuclear destination in India. In Karni Mata temple, Bikaner, rats are worshipped alongside with the temple deity. The Kumbhalgarh fort is the second largest wall in the world. Maharana Pratap was one of the most eminent rulers to have ever ruled in India. Maharana Pratap Jayanti pays homage to the great king and his visionary leadership. Celebrations such as Maharana Pratap Jayanti makes us aware of the history that is beyond our immediate vicinity. When we learn the history of other cultures, we become more empathetic and are aware of our common struggles and ambitions. Maharana Pratap is worshipped as an example of honor and patriotism. Maharana Pratap Jayanti helps us understand what's love for our people and land truly means. It also teaches us how to conduct ourselves with honor. Today is also commemorated as International Axe Throwing Day on June 13th. It encourages axe throwers, both professional and amateur, from all over the world to gather to celebrate and promote the herbal sport. The day aims to inspire sporty people to participate in a unique and enjoyable pastime, reduce tension, and simply have a good time with their friends and family members. Axe throwing clubs all across the world will be opening their doors to anyone interested in trying out the sport for free. After years of being used to chop down trees and fight in combat, the common axe has transformed into centerpiece of a fun-filled pastime that does not entail destroying forests or getting into scrapes with other participants. Axe throwing is indeed a sport in which objective is to strike a target with nothing but an axe, as the name implies, like darts. The participant aims for the bullseye on the huge target. Axe throwing is thought to have begun with loggers, often known as lumberjacks nowadays, during the 19th century. The sport has recently become a global craze. It is particularly popular in the United States and Canada, where it started as a competition in lumberjack contests. However, in recent years, it has become quite popular throughout Europe, making it easier for those who want to find place to throw their axes without having to travel far. When axe throwing becomes competitive, various restrictions must be followed, such as the target always being a specific width and comprising 5 rings in a similar way to archery. The closer you get to the center, the more points you will earn. The importance of safety in axe throwing competitions cannot be overstated. There are usually stringent safety precautions in place to protect both the competitors and any spectators who may be present. Consequently, you can also be confident that you will have a great and safe experience when you participate. Axe throwing tournaments were held for the first time by frontiersmen in North America, according to the local folklore. Although there have been accounts of axe throwing tournaments along the Celtic tribes, this has not been confirmed. Axe throwing is a still popular sport in many lumberjack sporting events, even though it has been around for decades. The majority of axe throwing entertainment companies like to utilize a sort of wood that would endure as long as possible while remaining easy to attach to target. Pine is usually a good choice because it is inexpensive and one of the most readily available wood species. Tossing an axe against a target requires quite a bit of skill. You will need more than beginner's luck to hit the bullseye, and learning the sport from an expert may be a lot of fun. It is also possible to throw an axe throwing party with your buddies, but the event should not include an actual axe if alcohol is present. Instead, a replica can be an alternative so that it won't hurt anyone. If it hits someone instead of the tree or bullseye, It makes axe throwing a safe activity for the whole family. Even a air balloon shaped axe are also used for the children to safely practice it. Many axe throwing facilities can hold special events such as team building functions or birthdays. The World Axe Throwing League has established a set of standard norms and guidelines. For example, target size, point system, and throwing distance. As the world's largest axe throwing club, Bad Axe Throwing is recognized for popularizing the sport and mainstreaming axe throwing. Competition and non-competitors alike can enjoy axe throwing as a sport or as a social act. Because it is a unique and enjoyable sport, it can encourage people to learn more about axe throwing. You may have seen some online research on axe throwing activities, such as finding out the best axe throwers in the history. Axe throwing is an interesting skill to learn, and there is no one correct way to do. Many people are surprised by the fact that there are different techniques to it. The day is beneficial not only for athletes but also for anyone interested in experiencing the uniqueness and excitement of axe throwing. The benefits include encouraging everyone to engage in a distinct, fun pastime, relieving stress, and having a good time. We'll resume in a minute. Meanwhile, we request everyone to complete the registration form and we'll be launching feedback form. Today is also commemorated as CNA Day in US. Every year, National Career Nurse Assistants Day starts off National Nursing Assistants Week and takes place on Thursday during the second full week of June. This year it takes place on June 30th. We are taking this opportunity to thank these entry-level professionals who act as coordinators between patients and doctors who dedicate their lives to serving others. So let us also appreciate those who are serving others by providing them with needful. Assistants to nurses have been around for a very long time, since World War I actually. The war took its toll on the hundreds of nurses deployed alongside the soldiers, overwhelming them beyond exhaustion. Seeing this situation, the American Red Cross took it upon themselves to create a volunteer nurses aid service. This program trained young women as nurses aides to provide basic assistance to overworked nurses. They were not certified and were volunteers. They numbered almost 8,000 women who conducted basic triage and helped in acute shortage areas like reserve, field, base, and civilian hospitals. However, this profession did not exist after the war, and it was only caught on again during World War II. At that time, the Red Cross reinstated this program, and these nursing assistants continued volunteering, and some were even employed after the war was over. These women were as yet not certified professionals, they only completed on-job training. Many nursing assistants found their way to nursing homes. In the 1980s, concerns were raised about the quality of care being provided at these nursing homes by untrained staff. This issue was put to rest by passing of the special act that required all such nursing assistants to be certified. This marked the change in the profession. Various accreditation centers arose providing training to aspirants. Now, people looking to become a nursing assistant can receive a certification online, offline, or a combination of both from various schools and organizations like the American Red Cross. Nowadays, nursing assistants work in hospitals, nursing homes, and other care facilities, performing everyday living tasks for the elderly, chronically ill, or those who cannot care for themselves. National Career Nurse Assistants Day is sponsored by National Network of Career Nursing Assistants. They promote this day and National Nursing Assistants Training Week by requesting communities to show their support and appreciation towards these nursing assistants. A CNA will not draw blood under the regular protocol. However, in certain healthcare settings, job training courses allow CNAs to draw blood. Responsibilities of a certified nursing assistant include but are not limited to turning or repositioning patients, answering patients' calls, bells, documentation of information obtained, and preparing rooms for admissions, helping with procedures, and so on. So say thank you. Give a huge shout out to the people working tirelessly to make sure you and your loved ones are well cared for in the hospital to take or care centers. You create special cards using recyclable material or online or send the CNA, a tasty cake or anything, even a small thank you will do a great job. Not only do you show them how much their actions mean, but you also inspiring others to do the same. Nursing assistants are committed to providing care to the sick and elderly, whether at the nursing home or in-home care or another facility. Read or learn about their history and their services. You visit the various healthcare websites, which offer a number of resources and information about nursing assistants and courses. Make nursing assistants feel truly special. Bring this day and this week to the attention of your local leaders, like the city council, mayor, police chief, and fire chief. Organize events to connect with them and showcase how nursing assistants have helped their community and how a little appreciation can go a long way to raise their spirits. You can even invite the local newspapers, press outlets to cover the subsequent celebrations. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, nursing assistant positions will increase at a rate of around 22% until 2022. More than 12,000 volunteers registered for the Volunteer Nurses Aid Service during World War II. A report by the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, NCSBN, states that almost 26.3% of nursing assistants obtained their education at vocational and technical schools. In 2010, JobAckle.com called Michigan the best bet to find work as a nursing assistant, as this state had higher demand for certified nurse assistants than others. So Michigan was a high demand state. And a 2018 report from US Bureau of Labor Statistics shows more than 38% of nursing care facilities employ nursing assistants, only 4% work for the government. CNS are mostly in nursing care facilities. So nursing assistants have been around for a long time now, and we appreciate the reminder of how their service impacts us. The bravery of our military folks during the world wars is matched by selfless service of those volunteering women. Those nursing assistants provided without any formal training either. How we can pass up the opportunity to learn more about this profession, evolved and became how it is now. Finally, today, the last day of commemoration. Today, we are commemorating National Sewing Machine Day. Elias Howe or Isaac Singer, have you ever taken a home easy course or even worn clothes for that matter? They should. Those two gentlemen are credited with the invention of modern sewing machine. While the wheel, telephone, and personal computer get a lot of glory for changing how humans live, the sewing machine is somewhat of an unsung hero. Without it, however, we would still be squinting to thread needles and stitching together our shirts and suits by hand. Whether you want a simple set of curtains to block out the bright sun, or just aren't satisfied by shopping off the racks, sewing machines are handy appliances that deserve accolades. There are people who don't have enough clothes to wear, shelter animals who need warm, snuggly blankets for the crates, and children who love a handmade stuffed animal to cuddle at the night. So why not put your skills to good use and sew something that will be truly appreciated? One of the best parts of practicing a hobby like sewing is camaraderie that can result if your sewing machine is portable. Head to a local fabric store or a friend's house and stitch with others, or you can swap ideas, solicit solutions, and show off your handiwork on one of the many websites or forums dedicated to crafting. Give your sewing machine an evening off and tune into Great Britain Sewing Bee, a spin-off of the wildly popular Great British Bake Off, which aired between 2013 and 2016, featuring a pattern challenge, an alteration challenge, and made-to-measure challenge. The reality program is sure to stroke your creativity. Like a smidgen more snark in your shows. There are also Project Runway, which has been stunting its stuff for over a decade now. That's a lot of chances to make it work, in the words of Star Steam Gun. Draperies with alternating panels of chartreuse, lame, and crushed cherry velvet. Sewing machine can create just about any kind of clothing or home decor. Maybe you remember your mother, grandmother sewing clothes. Even if not someone you likely spent a long lot of time sitting at a sewing machine. It can be easy to forget. In this day of $10 t-shirts, that there was a time when providing clothing for the family was a labor-intensive endeavor, one that was made much easier with the advent of sewing machine. Sewing is a relaxing yet productive hobby, much like other domestic activities that are undergoing a renaissance. Knitting, scratch baking, home brewing, sewing not only is an enjoyable hobby, but one that yields gratifying results. While it may require a bit of learning curve if you don't yet know how to sew, the end result will be practical, beautiful, or both. Can't say that mastering the next level of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations and celebrations. We thank everyone for joining us on this wonderful day. I hope you all had wonderful learning about various topics. So see you all tomorrow at the same time at 6 p.m. The same joining link with different commemorations. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.